And I'm turning the mic over to you, Zulma Gonzalez. This mic is all yours, my friend.
And I thank you, Lynn. Hi, Dove. Hello. Lori, Lynn, Regis, Sharon, McKelly here in the room with me. A thankful Thursday to each and every only one of us. Only one. We know that God can't count past one. Ah, talk about math. There's no need for it. It's only one.
It's drawn back,
Uh,
the hallucinations disappear, as the Course says, back into the nothingness from which they came. There's nothing there.
what
There's
is
nothing
that?
to hold it up.
What is that? I'm hearing Ken Wapnick. Okay. Um, okay. Yeah, that caught me off guard. And thank you very much.
You from
Thank
the
you very much.
grave.
Um, so I was just listening to a program before this one, and I heard Lori reading from the Journey Through the Workbook of A Course in Miracles about today's lesson, by Ken Wapnick. And she read what I heard her read was from workbook lesson. Today's workbook lesson is love created me like itself. Love created me like itself. Love created me like itself, which is saying that I am love, that I am perfect love. I am complete in myself. I am complete. And it's interesting that the Course reminds us that we have to be reminded over and over and over again of the truth, and which goes to what Lori was saying about denying the denial of truth when we tell ourselves that we're not this or we're not that, and that fear is the basis of our reality rather than love. Fear is nothing. And the next lesson talks about grievances, and love holds no grievances, and grief. That whole grief process is about being in fear, a fear that something is going to leave, something that is not going to be here, that something that we're not whole, that we're missing something, that we're lacking in some area. And that caught my attention this morning as Lori was reading that. The sentence that she was coming from in the fifth paragraph of today's lesson says it'll be particularly helpful today to practice the idea for the day as often as you can. You need to hear the truth about yourself as frequently as possible because your mind is so preoccupied with false self-images. That just happened to catch my attention. Um, as we begin, as we always do each week, we are reminded to mind our mind. Mind your mind. Dr. Ernest Holmes teaches that to learn how to think is to learn how to live. And the Course reminds us that this is a course in mind training, that all learning involves attention and study at some level. Mind training, mind training, mind training. We're talking about that repetition. It says here it says here that well, in the Course it says you need to hear the truth about yourself as frequently as possible. Mind training, mind training, mind training. Because we keep looking at what we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, and we think of that as real. And it isn't. It never is. It's temporary. It is always temporary. Only what's real is permanent and cannot be threatened, and that is spirit, and that is in truth what we are. The Course continues to teach that an untrained mind can accomplish nothing. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. So it says again, you need to hear the truth about yourself as frequently as possible because your mind is so preoccupied with false self-images. That's that person who is constantly, I found myself writing a sentence this morning, and I didn't post it. I was going to post it on Facebook and then change my mind because it would, anyway, that I have no problem. That I am known for listening to and talking about solutions to problems. That there is no point in talking about the problem because it continues to magnify. If you want a problem to go away, you don't keep talking about the problem. You start looking at the solutions to the problem. Workbook lesson 80 of the course tells us to look at it so we can realize it's already solved, not to look at it to magnify it, to expound on it, to make it bigger, to make myself a victim. No, 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 no. If I want it to go away, I have to realize it's not real anymore anyway, and then it'll go away. The effects will go away. It'll go away. When I change the cause, which is my thoughts, and not try to change the problem itself, the effects will go away because I am cause. Ernest Holmes writes that thoughts and things are but two ends of the same proposition. Since it is impossible to stop thinking, we cannot stop creating. Our choice is whether we shall create constructively or destructively. I had said a couple sessions ago that we were going to be talking about fear. I'm going to repeat a couple things that came up, starting with Miracle Principles 26 and 28, that miracles represent freedom from fear. Atoning means undoing, and the undoing of fear is an essential part of the atonement value of miracles. And I'll bring that up again. Miracles are a way of earning release from fear. Revelation induces a state in which fear has already been abolished. And that is that in that moment, in that holy instant, there is no past, there is no future, there's only now, and there's no way that fear can be in the way. There's no way. From Living Without Fear, Dr. Ernest wrote, no one imposes fear upon us. Rather, we create it for ourselves in our own thoughts and emotions. What we need to realize is that we have just as much freedom to eliminate fear as we have in creating it. We make fear. We make it, we can undo it. That's what the atonement is, to undo, to undo, to undo. I've walked into this situation. Oh my God, I'm scared. Oh my God, I'm scared. Stop, stop. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Going in rather than out. And that's how I eliminate it, and eliminate it. Got to look at it. You got to look at it. Otherwise, we can't get rid of it. But the goal is not to hold on to it. The goal is always to let it go. I'm repeating. This all came Monday. I'm repeating from Monday. The law having no purpose of its own. This is from Dr. Ernest from Living the Science of Mind. The law having no purpose of its own, and that law, we talk about the law. The basic law of God. There are no laws but God's. The law having no purpose of its own, having no intention of its own about us, is compelled to take the color of our dominant thought and create after that pattern. We can change our thought and thereby remold our conditions. That's what we call the undoing. The undoing. The workbook lesson number 12 tells us that miracles are thoughts. Miracles are thoughts. It doesn't say what kind of thoughts. It says miracles are thoughts, and they can represent the lower or the higher, the lower being the physical and the higher being the spiritual. Miracles are thoughts. We can change our thought and thereby remold our conditions. This is a great realization of freedom, and to understand this is to understand how we may become released from bondage. Love holds no grievances, and love created me like itself. I can be released from bondage when I deny the denial of truth, when I deny the denial of truth that I am as God created me, that I am free, that I am not a body, that I am that God is what I am, that I am what God is, that I walk with God. If I realize who walks beside me, that all things are for my best interest. Workbook lesson 24 says that we do not perceive our own best interests. We do not perceive our own best interest, but that everything is for our best interest. Everything, past, present, and to come. Workbook lesson 135 reminds us everything is for our best interest. Everything is for our good. Alan Cohen, author of, in this case, a daily dose of sanity, a 5-minute soul recharge for every day of the year. He's also the person who wrote Course in Miracles Made Easy. He writes, what we do from joy expresses love, and what we do from fear calls for love. What we do from joy expresses love, and what we do from fear calls for love. And from Living Without Fear, the editor or the gentleman who wrote the foreword for the book, William Kinley, who worked closely with Dr. Holmes's work to compile things after he passed and put other things together for other of his books. He writes, if a person seeks to free himself from limitations which his fears have imposed upon him, it will also be necessary for him to free himself from those ideas which have nourished and kept the fears alive and wreak their damage. Free himself from it is necessary to free himself from those ideas. Free from the ideas. And the Course reminds us that every response we make is determined by what we think we are. If I think that I am fear, then I'm going to respond in fear. If I remember that love created me like itself, then I am going to respond in love. I'm going to remember that God is what I am, that that I am sustained by the love of God, that God's voice speaks to me throughout the day, that God is with me everywhere I go. If I'm holding on to that, if I'm remembering to remember, if I'm choosing not to let my mind wander, if I'm choosing not to move into the sleep of forgetfulness, if I am choosing to guard my thoughts, I'm remembering that every response I make is determined by what I think I am, and I'll remember that what I am is spirit. And what I want to be, I say I want to be free. I am free. It is what I think I am. What I want to be then must determine every response I make. If I want to be free, I have to remember that I am love. If I want to be free, I have to remember that I am in God, that God is in me and I am in God. That's just a oneness. That's just a oneness. I am in God, as the Course reminds us, as the Bible teaches, as the other mental sciences teach. We are in God, of God, with God, for God, as God. We are one in God. Going back to the workbook lessons that mention fear. Workbook lesson 13, a meaningless world engenders fear. A meaningless world engenders fear. If I think that something that is meaning, but realize that it has no meaning, I can become afraid because I think that what I think is then meaningless. And I learn with time that what I think is meaningless, but learning to learn that takes time. It takes time. I am at home. The workbook lesson 160 says, I am at home, and that fear is the stranger here. Believing that what isn't is strange. Believing that what isn't is strange. So workbook lesson 240 says that fear is not justified in any form. Workbook lesson 274, today belongs to love. Let me not fear. If I am in love, because love created me like itself, because love is what I am, because God is love and therefore so am I, today belongs to love. Today belongs to God. Today belongs to truth. Today belongs to the absence of anything that isn't that, and that is not denying the denial of truth. Let me not fear. Workbook 293, all fear is past, and only love is here. All fear, which is my belief in nothingness, is gone if I want it to be. The Course teaches that we are asked, that the Holy Spirit asks us to act as though we are not an ego. We are not an ego. We're not that. It's a thought system. I am not my thoughts. Clearly, I am not my thoughts. I am in charge of my thoughts. My thoughts belong to me, but I am not my thoughts. All fear is past and only love is here. Workbook lesson 309, I will not fear to look within today. If I'm looking on the inside, back to what I was saying about seeing something outside and being afraid and thinking, oh my God, I'm so afraid. Oh my God, I'm so afraid. And then dropping the I am afraid and just go with the oh my God. God, God is all there is. All fear is past and only love is here. I will not fear to look within today. 323 says, I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. And sacrifice, as we know, is is thinking that we're choosing this over that. So making the sacrifice of fear, in this case, it's in quotation marks, making the sacrifice of fear is choosing love over, really, it's choosing truth. It's choosing love over what we're calling fear, which isn't real. Choosing what is real over what is not. I'm eagerly willing to sacrifice what's not real. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Song by Karen Drucker. I don't know if you're anywhere nearby, Regis. If you could bring it up, I would appreciate it. If not, I'll go look for it myself. And that's the song I'm looking for, Karen Drucker, Let It Go. The words go, and things are just too much. When things are just too much, and I'm holding on so tight. I wanna just relax, give up without a fight. I long to feel that sweet release. I turn within and pray. Stop, take a breath, relax, surrender, and just stay. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go. Workbook lesson 332, fear binds the world and forgiveness sets it free. Forgiveness is just releasing what's not there, releasing what's not really holding on to you. Houdini, I'm told, was put in a room one time, and he was told that it was the most difficult um, room that he would ever have to escape from. It was the most difficult. And this man tried and tried and tried, and he did everything he possibly thought he could, and he tried to, get at this, this door, and he tried and tried and tried. And finally, he was so tired that he just fell against the door, and it opened. It opened. He was so busy trying to bring it this way, and and I don't know if that's a real story because Houdini was a great magician, but it's told that way. But that he became so tired that finally he surrendered. He surrendered. He let go. Fear binds the world. He was so afraid, and then using this as an example, he was so afraid that he couldn't open that door, that he couldn't open the door. Our thoughts, our thoughts, our thoughts. Mind training is what we're talking about. This is a course in mind training. These are courses in mind training. And that all lessons, all training requires study and attention at some level. Forgiveness sets the world free. The world that I think is real. Letting go, releasing, sets it free. Workbook lesson 348 says, I have no cause for anger or for fear. No cause. I have no cause for anger or for fear for you, Father, for you, God, for you, life, for you, Spirit. Surround me. And in every need that I perceive, your grace suffices me. I have no cause for anger or for fear. All right, I'm going back to the course. Uh, only your mind can produce fear. We've said this over and over again in different ways. Only your mind can produce fear. It does so whenever it is conflicted in what it wants, producing inevitable strain because wanting and doing are discordant. What I want to do and what I'm doing are two different things. What I say I want to do and what I'm doing are two different things. But the truth is, because that would be sacrifice. If that would be sacrifice. I'm doing this, but I'd really prefer to be doing that. Well, I always have a choice. Instead of saying that I want to do this and prefer to do that, why don't I just do that and deal with whatever comes with it? If I go to the right, then whatever comes with going to the right is what I'm going to get. And if I go to the left, then whatever comes with going to the left is what I'm going to get. I was using the example the other day uh, of a parent who, says that they're sacrificing to send their child to college using the money that they would have done something else with. And if they really wanted to, if they did what they really wanted to do most, they wanted to send their child to college. Of course, they were probably expecting something else. Like, I shouldn't say that. That's me. That's me making up a story. But the fact that they're saying that they're sacrificing for their child, no, they're doing what they wanted to do, and they're calling it sacrifice. So Karen reminded us the other day that the first corrective step in undoing, oh, one sentence before that, that this whole thing about wanting and doing are discordant. This can be corrected only by accepting a unified goal. One, unified, unified, one goal. The first corrective step, this is what Karen reminded us, that the first corrective step in undoing the error is to know first that the conflict is an expression of fear. The conflict is an expression of fear. I'm doing something that I don't want to do, and that's because I'm afraid that if I do what I want to do, that whatever, somebody's going to think this of me, or somebody's not going to think that of me, or something, I'm going to lose something, or get something I don't want. Fear. Say to yourself that you must have chosen not to love, or fear could not have arisen. You must have chosen not to love, or fear could not have arisen. But love created me like itself. I'm choosing not to be myself, not to be my true self. I am choosing not to be one with God, or to think that I'm not one with God. Otherwise, fear could not have arisen. Then the whole process of correction becomes nothing more than a series of pragmatic steps in the larger process of accepting the atonement, undo, as the remedy. And here it comes. These steps may be summarized in this way. Know first that this is fear. Know first that this is fear. Know first that this is not love. Know first that it is something that's not real. Know first that it's a denial of the denial. It is the denial of truth, not the denial of the, it is the denial of truth. Fear is the denial of truth. Know first that this is the denial of truth. It's fear. Fear arises from lack of love. The only remedy for lack of love is perfect love. Perfect being complete, total, whole, total. Like knowledge is total, love is total, God is total. There's no partiality in it. Perfect equals total, whole, complete. The only remedy for lack of love is whole, perfect, and complete love. That perfect love, that complete love, that total love is the atonement. Dub, would you like to comment at all? I see you're getting ready to type something. I know you are. Would you like to comment, please? Come on in. Unmute for a moment or two if you like.
Are you asking me to comment. You're saying as long as we keep repeating the story, it won't and can't go away, was included in my 12 core themes of A Course in Miracles, which, as you probably know, I started 20 years ago. I keep adding to it, and I added that, and that's what you were talking about now. And I think that that's the most helpful thing you can tell people who really don't get into the course because they say the course is not for me. I think I'm a body. Please don't tell me I'm not a body. But they do repeat themselves about their maladies, their sickness over and over. And I think that that's the one way that can be helpful to them is to ask them, I know you believe in diets because they all go on diets, but I can give you a diet of the mind. Do not keep telling the same story. You've got to let the story go. So, relax. Yeshua from Journey Beyond Words, which was scribed by Dr. Brent Haskell, from what we consider the same voice that spoke to Helen. He says, do you want to know the secret of salvation? And I'm saying, yeah, he's going to say the secret of salvation is I'm doing it to myself, which is what the blue book says. He said, no. He said, the secret of salvation is relax your mind, release your thoughts, and let it go. And let it go. And let it go. And let it go. So everything you've been saying is right from Yeshua, which is Yeshua is Hebrew for God saves, or the Hebrew name for Jesus.
Of which we're all one. We're
Yes.
one with. We are one with. So ultimately, it's still the same voice. And I'm grateful for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. But that's absolutely it. We keep holding on. It's like, the famous, carrying the heavy suitcase, but there's nothing in the suitcase. I keep pulling it. And if it is something in the suitcase and I'm carrying it and I'm saying that it's heavy, then why do I continue to carry it? I can get a rolling cart. There's other ways. There's ways to let go of these things. There's ways there. Help is available. Help is available. Oh my God. Back to that. Oh my God.
Well,
My God.
the ego loves telling stories. I mean, without a story, I I can't be an ego. Egos need stories.
And that what are called stories are interestingly enough, Byron Katie calls theories. We have these theories because the story itself isn't real. We're making the whole thing up and adding our own twist to it. And why is it that 99 and a half times out of 100 it's never a happy story? In the dream, in the fantasy, in wish world, which I say is not a real place, in wish world, we're making up this grandiose, this beautiful, oh, everything is perfect, everything is great. The course teaches us, and I can't remember where right now, teaches that that's not really what we want because it's not real. We want it to be real, and we can't make it real. So we're actually making ourselves more upset by taking ourselves to a place that's not real, attempting to make it real, realizing it can't be real, coming back to reality, and then saying it's something wrong with reality. Oh my gosh. We're constantly hurting ourselves big time. Come on, Michaela.
Oh, it's so beautiful what you're talking about, this fear. It I have to, I wake up and it's right there. I can hear it just babbling away. And I have to just step back and look at it all the time and then just say, I'm not going there. But it's just constantly babbling away. It never stops. So thank you.
But thank you for that. But we actually we have to remember that we control our mind. The mind doesn't control us. Our thoughts, we have control over our thoughts. The thoughts do not control us. So when we find it when we hear it. This is where why mantras or workbook lessons or affirmations or whatever you choose to call it is beneficial to me. It helps me because I have something to jump in with it. Um, and it could just, and for me, it's always just the word spirit. That's my first spirit to stop it. That's my way of saying stop. I used to, all the time say stop, 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 stop. Sometimes I still do. And I always seem to say it 5 times. Stop, 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 stop. It's like I have to get a hold of, yourself, Zulma. Get a hold of yourself. Get thee behind me, whatever you think is hurting you. Get thee behind me. And then get away. Because there is no behind. Gone. Think. Guard your thoughts, Zulma. Guard your thoughts. Stop letting your mind wander, Zulma. Stop thinking that the past is real, Zulma. Stop thinking that you have to be in pain, Zulma. This is the denial of truth. Stop thinking that you're alone, Zulma. Stop thinking that you're separate, Zulma. Stop thinking that there's something out here, something out there that's going to satisfy you, Zulma. Stop. 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 Spirit. Act as though you're not an ego. Act as though you're not an ego. The Course says that the Holy Spirit says to just act as though you're not an ego. Choose to remember what's good. Choose to be in peace. Stop thinking you don't deserve it. There we go. The habit of engaging with God and his creations is easy if we actively refuse to let our minds slip away. It's not one of concentration. Where is that? It's not one of concentration, but only the belief that we don't deserve it and that neither do you. The belief that we don't deserve it. Let me find that. Habit. Habit. Come on, type Zulma. Search. Habit. I want to put that on the screen. I never have. Habit engaging. It's only in here once. The habit of engaging with God and his creations are easily made. Easily. Oh. Here we go. I'm going to grab the sentence after that. Too. Copy. Here we go. Let's put that on the screen. Let's put that on a slide. The habit, this is one of my favorites. The habit of engaging with God and his creations is easily made. And we think, no, it's not easily made. Let's stop denying that. Easily made. Easily made. If we actively refuse to let our mind slip away. Refuse to let your mind slip away. Refuse to let your mind slip away. Refuse. Refuse. What's the in the traditional Christian churches here? I refute. As I'm hearing that has to do with refusal. I refute such and such. Yes, Michaela, bring it.
I love where it says that refuse to let your mind slip away, because in the commentary on today's lesson of Love Created Me Like Itself, Uncle Kenny says that the long-range goal of A Course in Miracles is that we become aware of this truth all the time, not just for a moment. So that would go in line with what you're saying, Zuma, on refuse to let your mind slip away. That's the long-range goal of A Course in Miracles. We become aware of the truth all the time, not just for a moment. So you're refusing to let your mind slip away. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's what engaging is. To be engaged. Right now, we're engaged. We're engaged. I'm listening to you. You're listening to me. We're right here. We're right here. We're right here. Of the one mind. Whether we agree or whether we don't, it doesn't even matter. But we're engaged right here, right here. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about engaging with God, engaging with God, engaging with God. That's how that's how it's done. That's how it's done. That's how you refuse to let your mind slip away, because you're constantly paying attention. You're constantly paying attention. You're constantly paying attention. Let me bring the screen down. I think I just saw. Okay, you did leave. All right. Just checking. Yes, and Dove wrote, come to a full stop. That's it. Come to a full stop. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. You gotta stop telling yourself all this stuff, all this crap, all this BS, and tell yourself the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, over and over and over and over again. When it hurts, stop. Stop. Deal with the pain. Look at, because you have to look at it before. You can't just make it. You can't just say stop and throw it away. No, you can't do that. You got to stop, look at it, and see why. What's going on here? Why am I letting myself go here? And then be willing to let it go. But be willing to let it go. And this is the problem. People aren't willing to let the pain go. Oh, you see, yesterday and last week and last month and last year, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead, look, Michaela, I saw your hand. Go ahead, love.
I was just going to say that there's a parable. This reminds me of a parable from Ramakrishna, who had 12 disciples too, like Christ. And he says that, to be in the world, but in your heart of heart, to know that, you do your duties, but in your heart of heart, you're constantly engaged with God. And there's parable of a maidservant that works in the home of a rich man, and she treats his children, his possessions, everything as if it is her own. But so she does her duties as if it is her own, but in her heart of heart, the whole time she knows that none of it belongs to her. And so she's totally engaged with God all the time, but she does her duties in this world too. Thank you.
And that's what we as teachers of God aim to do, to treat it as if it's my own, but realizing it's not, it's to be connected, but not attached. Not easy either. Not always easy. Not always easy. I just saw Gloria's face on the screen and I suddenly immediately became attached to it. And just like that, it was gone. So I'm realizing the connection. We're connected, but not attached. Everything we're told that being and having is the same. We have everything. Now, I might think of everything as this computer, or you all as my fellow and sister teachers, and my books, and my pal talk what do you call this thing? Can't think what you call this thing. This thing that Regis gave me a while back, a long time ago. That Regis gave me. Tumbler, thermos. There we go. My pal talk thermos. And I can think of this as, this is mine. This one is mine. You may have yours and I may have mine, but I'm connected to it. I'm connected to it, but I'm not attached to it. Because eventually it won't be mine, because it and my body and everything that I'm perceiving, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching is out of here. It's not going to be here. The thoughts that I thought 5 minutes ago, unless I go back and listen to this recording, I can't tell you exactly what I said. But I can't even tell you what I said 5 minutes ago, because I didn't have a script. The script is written, but it comes and it goes. It continues to be written. Creation doesn't stop. Life continues. The universe is always saying, yes, 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 go, 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 more, more, more. The universe continues. It doesn't stop. But what do? We get this fear spot. We call it a problem. And we grab it and we hold on to it, and we think the world is just, the whole world has stopped around this problem, and oh, how terrible it is, and what am I going to do? Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, it's awful. And meanwhile, I'm working that up. I remember when I used to use nicotine, and when I first stopped, I was going to Nicotine Anonymous, wonderful place. For those who don't know, Nicotine Anonymous exists. Send somebody if you have to. There are meetings online if you want information about that. Shameless plug. Um, but I remember talking to people who were. There was one little man named Jack. Jack was a little Italian guy, and he had this cute, this little accent. He was short and cute little man, and he would say, he says, when I feel like smoking, when I feel like smoking, he says, I get so nervous. He says, and I start to sweat right here. I start to sweat right between his nose and, right under his nose. He says, I just sweat. I get wet. He said, I get wet right here. Get wet. And I had suggested simply to basically stop thinking about the fact that he had this craving, and to just start taking slow, deep breaths, and to pay attention to the breaths that he would have been taking with a cigarette, but to just breathe, just to start taking, just breathe. And Jack, he started coming to, he says, and I remember Zulma telling me to take deep breaths. Deep, I can still hear this little man, to take deep breaths, deep breaths. He says, and it was magic, like miracle. The wet disappeared. Isn't that what the course? Oh man, Jack, what the course teaches us to, if the deceive yourself no longer in the face of, that something is happening to you. Just look at it for what it is. Look at it, and the effects will disappear. It goes away. But no, what do I want to do? I want to keep holding on to it and holding on to it and holding on to it. I want to stay in fear. I want to stay in fear. I don't understand what it is about me. I'm using me as the example right now, but I have someone in particular in mind who constantly chooses to stay in fear. Instead of engaging with God, they're choosing to engage with fear. Engaging with fear. And when I come back on Monday, I want to see what Joel Goldsmith, I know I can, Gloria, I don't know if you're in earshot, if you could share with me something, and from which book if possible, because I want to put that on the screen as well. I do want to share some Joel. I didn't get a chance to do that this morning. I certainly was thinking about it. I want to share some Joel Goldsmith about fear, or the lack thereof. It serves no, first of all, it doesn't serve a constructive purpose. So if we refuse to let our minds slip away, if we refuse to let our minds slip away, if we avoid the sleep of forgetfulness, let's find that. Let's do it the course. Let's go with the sleep search. Sleep of forgetfulness. Sleep. Forgetfulness. In chapter 13, it says, forgetfulness and sleep and even death become the ego's best advice for dealing with the perceived and harsh intrusions of guilt on peace. Ew. Forgetfulness and sleep. Now that, go back one more, because it's in here 3 times, the word sleep and forget together. In chapter 12, in the Holy Spirit's curriculum, in section 6, the vision of Christ, in paragraph 4, it reads, correction is for all who cannot see. To open the eyes of the blind is the Holy Spirit's mission, for he knows that they have not lost their vision, but merely sleep. He would awaken them from the sleep of forgetting to the remembering of God. Awaken from, that's the part I'm going to grab. Awaken from the sleep of forgetting to the remembrance of God. Awaken, family. Awaken, Zulma, from the sleep of forgetting to the remembrance of God. Throughout the course, we're being given instruction over and over and over and over again. And there was a time, and still sometimes, but not nearly as much, when I would read the lesson, close the book, and keep on going about my day. And if you asked me half hour later, what did I read? I couldn't even tell you. No. Workbook lesson. What day? I don't know. Don't remember. But today, I'm grateful to say, the words of the course, one sentence at a time, sometimes one phrase at a time, and that I don't have to quote the course verbatim. I don't have to do that. I don't. If I, it's fine if I can quote the course. Oh yeah, I can do the words and all that. But if I don't know what in the world I'm saying, if I'm not living what I'm quoting, then what's the point? It doesn't matter that I know all these wonderful words. Oh yeah, oh the sleep of forgetfulness, the habit of engaging with God and His creations is easily made if you actively refuse to let your mind slip away. But if I'm actively refusing, if I'm actively letting my mind slip away over and over and over again, then what's the point? What's the point? I'm grabbing hold of engaging with God. And these are the words I'm grabbing hold of because this is what I want to jump in my head at the time when I'm letting some fear thing get in the way. Engage with God. Oh, my God. And go from, oh, I'm so afraid, oh my God, to, oh, I am. I went from I am afraid to I am. I am. That I am. I am. That I am. I am as God created me. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Awaken from the sleep of forgetting to remembering God. Awaken from the sleep of forgetting to the remembering of God. Oh, my God, it doesn't matter how many words I know. It doesn't matter if I quote it verbatim. It doesn't have to be that way. Did I get the point? Am I living it? More importantly, am I living it? Am I just talking the talk or am I walking the walk? What's happening here? Am I talking the talk or am I walking the walk? The other place where the word sleeping and forgetting, it's a couple more places. It reads in the course. As I said, forgetfulness and sleep and even death become the ego's best advice. Ha! Forgetfulness and sleep become the ego's best advice for dealing with the perceived and harsh intrusion of guilt on peace. Wow. Wow. Forgetfulness and sleep. I'm gonna put that on the slide too. Move this out the way. That's gonna become a fear. Right here. Forgetfulness and sleep and even death become the ego's best advice. I'm just gonna grab that. Forgetfulness and sleep become the ego's best advice. Hi, Regis. Glad you showed up, brother. Look, look, look. Remember this? Remember that? Thank you. It's full of cold water today. Forgetfulness and sleep. I'm gonna highlight that part. Forgetfulness and sleep Forgetfulness and sleep become the ego's best advice. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. I I don't know if I'm assuming I've read that paragraph before. I never saw it like this. I never saw it like this. Here we go. And it's blue. Yeah. And it's bold. Oh, it's bold. Yeah. Forgetfulness and sleep. Sleep. I'm going to leave that alone for now. And of course, the last place in the course where it says that is in the end of chapter 16, where it says the sleep of forgetfulness is only the unwillingness to remember God's forgiveness and God's love. It's the sleep of forgetfulness is only, there's that word, only the unwillingness to remember. Only the unwillingness to remember. Hear what that's saying. We keep talking about workbook lesson, today's workbook lesson. It says you need to hear the truth about yourself as frequently as possible because your mind is so preoccupied with false self-images. That's enough to keep me in fear. False self-images over and over and over and over and over and over again. I'm going to bring the screen down for a minute. I see Regis once, I see Regis twice. Going once, going twice. ah, ah. And Glorian wrote, oh, all right. Okay, perfect. And you know what? I thought about that. Glorian had mentioned that wait a minute. Our first and foremost task is to fill our consciousness with love, forgiveness, gratitude, praise, loyalty, and devotion, not only to God, but to our neighbor as well. We must heal and cleanse ourselves until we become transparencies through which God's love reaches earth. And that is from Joel Goldsmith. I am more than happy to put that on a slide. And sooner or later, Gloria's going to tell me which book that came from so I can go find it because that's what I like.
It's from Joel Goldsmith's Gift of Love.
Gift of Love. Gift of Love. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And she also quotes, fear is error. Resist not evil / error. The resistance establishes us as egos, keeping us from seeing the love that is there, which is basically saying that if we have to look at it, oh, I see it. I see the mistake. And then the course tells us that correction is the only thing to do about that mistake. But unless look at it, take the time to look at it, can't do anything about it. It's as simple as that. Oh, oh, shit, you messed up. And I'm going to hold you to that forever and ever and ever. And I'm going to have this grievance again, love. Tomorrow's workbook lesson. Love holds no grievances. And I'm going to hold this grievance against you. And I'm going to be in grief about it. And it's going to be your fault that I have migraine. It's going to be your fault that I have migraines. Go figure. How is that even possible? I saw that region. I'm looking at bringing it down. I'm looking down as if I can. I'm having fun. I'm having fun. You move the camera. You brought it down further, and I'm trying to keep it further down. But that's just Zulma being Zulma. Fear is error. Fear is a mistake. Fear is not real. It is something that we make up. How often can we say that? It's something that we make up. But yet, you need to hear the truth about yourself. as frequently as possible. Because see, we think we are fear. How can I say I am love and constantly choose to live in fear? Either I'm, and granted, fear is a call for love. You know, in the big scheme of things, it's all love. But I'd rather call to love. Hey, love, come here. Hey, love, come here. I'd rather call to love than be a call than having calls for love. This little puppy here, um, give y'all your daily look. See, he's behind me. His head is back here. There it is. And that's my coat because anything that Anyhow, but this little thing, I put food down for him to eat, put his meal down, he'll start eating it. If I'm eating too, he'll stop what he's eating to look at what I'm eating as if he's missing something. And while he's focusing on me, his food, because this morning, I scrambled him an egg and some ground beef, and yeah, he eats well. Um, uh, he's Lori wrote ego dog. I'm my dog Lori now. Wait a minute now. It's going just a bit too. Um, but while he's focusing on what I'm eating, his food is getting cold. Which you'll still eat. That's not my point. But the point is that instead of appreciating what he has, which is what we do, but appreciating what we have, we look at what we don't have, what we think we don't have, which is fantasy. Because if I don't have it, I'm not supposed to. Duh. If I don't have it, I'm not supposed to. I'm walking around in fear of something missing. What do they call it? FOMO, fear of missing out. You can't miss out. That's sacrifice again. It's as if I'm not supposed to have it. Oh my God, yesterday was Tuesday and I couldn't be here for Regis. Oh, I must have missed out. Oh, wait, I can go listen to the recording. Yesterday, I was taking the gentleman and his mother, the gentleman who has whose body has cancer, and his mother, so she can go get her tuberculosis test, so she can start getting paid for taking care of her son. And as much as I would prefer, as much as I appreciate and enjoy being here to share with Regis, how could I say that I'm actually living this course if I spent my time? Oh no, I can't take y'all now. I have to sit in front of my computer and listen to Regis. No, I'm extending. I'm extending. That's what and I have to say that. I have to say it out loud because there are times when I think, oh man, I'm gonna miss such and such on the computer. And I realized, wait a minute, Zulma, that's living the course. I didn't go to Nicotine Anonymous so that I can sit in 12-step rooms every Monday night. I didn't do that. That's not the reason. The course teaches us in workbook lesson 51 that we realize that we are the peace, that we need the help more in situations when things aren't kumbaya the way we want them to be. Oh, would I rather just sit here and rub lovable and listen to would. But I was needed elsewhere. And the gratitude that came, the smiles from the young man as he gets to go for a ride and all that stuff, that felt darn good to me. And it wasn't until I just said that I even realized and remembered that I didn't watch Regis yesterday. I will. I will. That I wasn't here yesterday morning. Oh wait, yesterday was Wednesday, wasn't it? Oh, see? I don't know where I am. The point that and Regis wrote in the chat that fear of missing out, FOMO, is anti-presence, anti-thankfulness, anti-gratitude. Absolutely. Because we're not being in the now. We're trying to be in which world? And the course teaches that fantasy is a distorted form of reality. It's a distorted form of reality. It's thinking that something should be a different way. And you can stick the should, and you can stick, you can stick the should in there anyway, anytime you want to. So anytime there's a should, you can find a should to put in there. You know that you're not in reality. I know that I'm not in reality. When I start thinking about the way something should be, when I start judging anything, I'm shooting on it. I'm shooting on it. I am right now, shooting on the fact that shooting on the way a family member responded to I had to realize a call for love, and I also have to start to let go. A family member on one side of the family was bothered by the fact that they weren't invited to come hang out with the other side of the family. They only know one person from that side of the family, and they don't know the person who this was all about, and made it all about them. And I have to admit that I'm bothered by it, and I'm working on the disconnect. Regis, when you should get the pooper scooper. Ooh, stinky, get the pooper scooper. Get this shit out of here. Pick the shit up and get rid of it. But I'm working through this thing, and I've talked about it before. I've talked about her before. Who made something about her when it had nothing at all to do with her, and 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 I am working on, and I'll probably make a phone call to one of you. I'm not sure who, maybe two or three or four of you at the same time. I don't know. Because I need help to detach from her, and I feel like I'm not supposed to, because she's blood. And my blood relatives are only like this many. It was only, a few of us. And on my mother's side, there's only three of us left. She's one of them. And I'm having this, I'm going through this conflict. My 23-year-old, who's mine by love, not by blood, she asked me, she said, if y'all weren't related, would you be in contact with her? I thought, no, this isn't someone that I would want to call, close friend, or no, no. No, I wouldn't. And it made me step back a little bit. Like, I need to think about that. I'm always saying that love is thicker than blood, but now there's blood. I've got this thick feeling. And I don't know why. I don't know. I need assistance in seeing what the fear is in this situation. It's not clear to me. And anyway, that's not what I'm not here to do that right now. But just putting that out there. Don't be surprised, Glorian or Regis or Karen, if you get a call from me, or even Lynn. Don't be surprised. So Glorian says, "Is that self-loving to me?" This woman, is that self-loving to me? Ask the Holy Spirit what is the most loving thing to do. Sometimes it's okay to bless from a distance.
$35 insulin, in my family and many families across the South.
Dove, let me see.
But
I can mute him. Bam, I just did. Um, Glorian, thank you for that. I'm talking slowly because the mist is starting to form in my eyes, and there's no wind blowing for me to blame it on. I guess what it is, and I guess what it is the recognition that my sister, I'm calling it not my sister, my cousin, but I don't call the whole brother thing. Again, I don't always quote the Course. When I say my brother, I mean my sister sometimes, because I'm talking about a female. I see her pain. I see it clearly. I see it clearly. I see it clearly. And there's that part of me that doesn't want to let go, as others have let her go. People that, people that she used to talk to still talk to me that don't talk to her. People that I met through her that just, have distanced themselves from her. And it hurts. But anyway. So, that's my part of the story right now. Uh, and yes, Gloria, I get that we don't have to fix every situation. And I can't. And I know that I can't. I know that I can't. Because she doesn't see it. She doesn't see her role in it. I'm clear. I'm really clear on that. I'm not trying to fix it. I guess there's that part of me that thinks that I'll be there when she sees it, and then I can. I don't know. Maybe I'm playing. Maybe it's me thinking I'm Superwoman. Maybe it's me wanting to be her Superwoman. Maybe it's me wanting to be, and I'm putting this in quotation marks, her savior. My responsibility is to accept the atonement for myself. Always trying to fix and save. We can't do it. I can't do it. The only obligation I have is to my peace of mind. See, Gloria's putting all this in the chat, so I don't call her. I'm just kidding.
You
Just
can
kidding.
call me, sweetie. You can call me.
I know. I had to make that a funny. I was just kidding. I know I can call you. But the answers, and I'm saving the chat as we speak. The answers are always available to us, just like this. You see, this is it. This is really it. We're not alone. We're never alone. We can't be alone. We can't be alone. Because everyone, everybody, as part of the one is an extension of me. And I'm an extension of them. And the answers to every question, when we are willing to allow our invulnerability to express, to forget that it is about vulnerable. I'm not vulnerable. My vulnerability matters not. I can't get answers if I'm holding on to what's bothering me. I can't get answers. That's what I was talking about. We try to hold on to stuff, and here, I didn't know this was going to come up. I didn't. And Karen reminds us that if I'm not at peace, I'm listening to the ego thought system. I'm thinking through an ego thought system. There is no ego thought system. There is no ego. I am looking for pain. I am looking for pain by seeing her pain. Here we go. By looking at her pain, I'm only seeing my own. I'm seeing through pain. And when it's her time, when it's her turn, then she will accept the atonement for herself. And that's not for me to do. I can't do that for her or even with her unless she wants assistance in doing that. I can't do it. And yeah, and we're sitting in here having a chat. Those of you who are not in this room are missing a great chat here. This is going on quite wonderfully. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your assistance in this. I appreciate that. I was going to read some Ernest Holmes today. It's about 18 minutes. Still have 18 minutes to go. Regis, my love, is there anything you want to contribute to this conversation before I move further? Besides the fact that I am love, because that's what's written behind you, that I am love and so are you. Okay. He's not hitting the unmute button. So all right, I'm going to move on. Thank you, brother. So let me go back to sharing my screen. And yeah, Karen, about that saying no. Reverend Twana Malone last year, 2 months back to back. The first one was our sacred yes, and the following month was our holy no. And Reverend Sheila used to say, Reverend Sheila was the founding minister. Reverend Sheila Pierce was the founding minister of the Center of Peace, who made her transition March 17th of 2017, just months before I earned my license. She used to say, your yes means nothing if you can't say no. So I've learned how to say no. I could do it. I've gotten pretty darn good at it, you know. And to my own surprise, not a surprise anymore, people they don't stop caring about me because I say no. In fact, those who are supposed to be in my world are glad that I was honest with them and didn't begrudgingly do something that I really didn't want to do. And then and giving and putting my peace on hold to that's called people pleasing. I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. And people pleasing used to be the thing, because if I can make you like me, then maybe I can like myself. Maybe I can find that thing in me. That never worked. It never, ever, ever, ever worked. Yes, and it's what's his name? William Shakespeare. That says, to thine own self be true. Then you can't be dishonest to anyone. To thine own self be true. And Ralph Waldo Emerson says, trust thyself. Trust thyself. Imitation is suicide. And yes, saying no sometimes may be the most loving thing to do. Absolutely, for myself. I get that clearly. Thank you for that, Karen. Yes, the dis-ease to please. The dis-ease to please. Yes, Regis. The dis-ease to please. I used to, wow. Oh, I've come so far. Oh my gosh. I don't even know that was a person ago. I don't even know who that was, who that is anymore. I don't. I just, no, well, no, I can't. No, that's not a good idea. No, I don't think so. I appreciate, no, thank you very much, but no. There's so many beautiful ways to say no. I mean, it still comes out to those two words, and no, it doesn't have to be, well, it doesn't have to be mean and nasty, but, but yes doesn't have to be, just too sweet and sugary either. Because either one is really patronizing. If I'm well, I don't know, maybe, no, you mean no. You mean no. And it sounds like no, and it looks like no. And anyway, all right, it's 11:15. I am going to, well, Eastern time, I am going to share my screen and go into a little bit of Dr. Ernest Holmes from Living the Science of Mind. And there are a couple of sections. This is one of the three that he does on fear that I'm going to read from. This is actually the third of the three that he does on fear. And I'm going to read a little bit from here. Oops. This section is called Overcoming Fear and the Inferiority Complex. And this is from Living the Science of Mind, the only writings by the founder of Science of Mind to help you understand his classic textbook. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And that's a quote from the Bible. It's written that Jesus said that. Here is the implication that some kingdom over which we should have complete dominion has already been given. And if there is such a kingdom, and if we should have dominion over it, then we should act as kings, not as vassals, not as slaves, and not as those who cringe before an inexorable fate. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that word correctly. If all people are made in the image and likeness of the divine being, then surely one person should not be afraid of another. Oh, there's a big one. If we're all made in the image and likeness of the divine being, then surely one person should not be afraid of another. I should not be afraid of you. And if like itself is a unity of good with a capital G, then why should we be afraid of life. Experience has proved to us that some people are afraid of life. They are afraid of each other, and seldom do we find anything which even resembles a kingly attitude. Moreover, in those rather rare instances where we do find a kingly attitude, it is too often attended with arrogance. It is of the utmost importance to solve this perplexing problem every priest, physician, metaphysician, and psychologist meets in his daily contact with people. Under analysis, it has been found that an inferiority complex is based on the fear of life. The basic fear is an inability to properly adjust to everyday living. That's interesting. An oversensitive person is always handicapped and too often assumes an attitude of arrogance or blustering bravado to cover up his inward hurt. Generally speaking, he will not admit that such a hurt is there. And even though he trains his will and studies every psychological method known with which to combat life, unless he has overcome the fundamental fears of life, he has only covered them that much deeper by his mental maneuvering. Anyone who is familiar with mental reactions knows that a man who goes blustering around saying he has no fear, asserting loudly that he is just as good as anyone, and who always demands the attention of others, is sick inwardly. Ouch. He is attempting to cover up some part of himself, although this is impossible to do. I've said that. The Chinese sage said, "How can a man conceal himself?" Though we crowd all of our emotions back into the unconscious, they always come up in another form. It is impossible to bury a living spring. Oh, hear that, family. We can merely change its course. It is just as impossible to destroy that dynamic urge which some call the libido, some the will to power, and others, more rightly perhaps, designate as the life force seeking self-expression. If we would heal the inferiority complex, we must arrive at conclusions more basic than merely teaching our student or patient to shout that he is self-sufficient. For the louder he screams, the more frightened he becomes, until finally his scream is a shriek and his attitude toward life becomes hysterical. We are told that inferiority complex often arise from youthful frustration and early childhood repressions, or from emotional reactions which have shocked the finer sensibilities when they first come in contact with the hard realities of life. This may be true, and proceeding upon this theory, it becomes necessary to uncover the psychic stream of previous experiences and unconscious memories. In this process of uncovering, this analysis of the soul or psyche, if the incident which started the stream of consciousness in the wrong direction, which turned it back upon itself, is brought to the surface and self-seen, it is generally dissipated. And that reminds me of what I was reading about knowing first that it's fear. You have to look at it before you, and then comes the atonement. Then you atone for it. Then you undo. Workbook lesson miracle principle number 7 reminds us that miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. In the process of uncovering, undoing, unlearning, purifying, this analysis of the soul or psyche, if the incident which started the stream of consciousness in the wrong direction is brought to the surface and self-seen, you gotta look at it. Self-seen. I can't do this for you. I can't do this for you. I can't solve your problems. Oh, I'm talking to myself. I can't solve the problems. I can't solve anybody's problems. They're not, first, because there are no problems. And if I attempt to make it a problem, which is the problem in the first place on that end, if I'm trying to make a problem out of something and then try to solve it, I can't, first of all, because it wasn't mine to begin with. There are two kinds of business, family. Okay, Byron Katie says three, but I like this one. It sounds better. It sounds funnier to me. There are two kinds of business, my business and none of my business. So I'm minding my business. I am minding my mind. I am minding my business. To analyze every person psychologically is out of the question. And it seems just as impossible to convince everyone of the truth of certain religious dogmas. All people do not wish to become orthodox religionists, nor do they wish to believe in some particular form of spiritual philosophy. What then are we going to do? The answer is so simple that it seems surprising when we arrive at its correct conclusion. We should not overlook the fact, I just muted Lynn. We should not overlook the fact that there are innumerable persons who have been what we call twice born. Through religious convictions, their whole lives have been instantly transformed and the entire psychic stream of previous experiences reversed. Fear has been overcome through faith and through spiritual conviction, and morbid neurosis have given way before some spiritual force which we cannot completely analyze, but which no person who has investigated the facts would think of denying. And that is to say that some people get it right away. In an instant, they get it. They got it in an instant. And others, it doesn't matter how long, because there's something that they're refusing, that we're refusing, that I'm refusing to see a place of truth that I'm not choosing to accept. Maybe I'm not accepting that love made me that love created me like itself. Maybe I'm not choosing to accept that. Maybe I've missed the point. Maybe I'm not realizing that love holds no grievances. Maybe I think that loving and grieving are the same. Maybe I think that guilty, that you can be guilty and I can be innocent, and that's how I'm going to get saved. Maybe that's what it is. But some people get it just like that. There's things going on in the chat. I see numbers going up in the chat, and I am going to read those things because apparently they are in conjunction with what I'm reading, but I don't want them to be out of context. So, Karen says she's getting the tattoo. To thine own self be true. To thine own self be true. And then the course says, and Karen quotes, how many teachers of God are needed to save the world? One. Just one. I need to heal my own mind, because in that the world is saved. Because it's my world. It's my world. I mean, you can call yours, but it's my world. There's only one world. There's only one. I can't count past one. Salvation means being saved from our wrong minds, according to Ken Wapnick and the course. It's being saved from our own mind, from my wrong mind. It's me thinking that I know what I'm thinking. Me thinking that I know. Me thinking that I'm right. Me thinking. There is only one mind, Florian reminds us, the one singular reality. That's it. We accept the mind that was in Christ Jesus. And that's what's written in the Bible. We're asked to accept the mind, to have this mind that was in Christ Jesus, to be renewed in the spirit of our minds, to put off the old self. Put off the old self. Like I said, that whole people-pleasing thing, I don't know her anymore. She's a part of my past. The miracle impulse, yes. To cleanse ourselves, to empty out the false, mistaken perception, remembering that love created me like itself. I am what love is. The Father and the Father are one. that I am not this body, that I really am free, that I am, and always will be as God created me. I always will be, that I am always in a state of grace, that spirit is my reality, no matter what I see, no matter what I hear, no matter what I smell, no matter what I taste, no matter what I touch, no matter what someone says to me, no matter what I'm saying to someone, no matter what I read, no matter what I don't read, no matter what. God walks with me. I am one. I am one with the Father. The Father is one with me. And that kingdom, our Father, which art within, the kingdom of heaven is written, is within. The kingdom of God is me, the Course teaches. It is me. And these are the things that bring me back to my rightful place, where I can hold my peace, not protect it, not go find it. I am that peace. I am that peace because love created me like itself. That love is the peace. That love is the truth. That love is the spirit. That love I call God. Doesn't matter. That love I call life created me like itself. Life created me like itself. I am life. And it's written that Jesus said, I am the light of the world. We are the light of the world if we want to be. The problem is, I think there is no problem out there. Did I say that? Yeah, the problem is we think there's no problem out there. The problem is that I think there is a problem out there. I think that there is a problem out there. I think that you're the problem, not me. Not me. The problem is what I am thinking. Yes, that is always the real problem. All right, I'm going to leave it right there. Knowing the truth that there is no problem unless I think there is, and then that's the problem. The problem is that I think there's a problem. I am not. It's not my thoughts. It's not my thoughts that hurt me. Rather, it's not what goes on outside that hurts me. It's what I think about what goes on outside. I'm never upset for the reason I think. I'm upset because I think. I'm upset because I think that what I think is right and that what you think is wrong. In truth, that's not the case. In truth, there's only one mind, one source, one life, one love, one of us. And thank you, all one of us for being here with me today. I appreciate your insights. I'm saving the chat because I'm certainly going to go read it again as soon as we get up here. And with that, Lynn,